Hey, what's up guys? So in this video I want to talk about 10 things that you can do to improve the battery life on Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. Now obviously it doesn't make sense to turn everything off because that is not why you bought this watch, but there might be other features that you may not use that can be turned off. So consider this video as a buffet of features from which you can pick and choose what does and doesn't work for you when it comes to saving battery life. So let's get started. The first thing is the most obvious thing that I want to talk about, and that is the power saving features on this watch. So go in settings and go in battery and device care. Now go in battery, and here you will see this first option, which is power saving option, and if you turn it on, it tells you everything that it will do. So it will do all of these things to improve battery life. So right now if you go on with 54% battery, you will get 17 hours and 58 minutes, so 18 hours. If you turn on the battery power saving, you will get 21 hours and 12 minutes. But then you can also go down and turn on the watch only mode, and this mode, if you have used Galaxy watches before, you know that it just shows you the time on the display and turns off everything else. So this is literally just the watch only mode and you only get the time. And if you turn this feature on, you will get 7 days and 6 hours of use from the 54% battery that is left on this watch. Now this mode should only be used for severe cases where you have like 10% battery left and you want to use the watch features for something important. You can turn on the watch only mode. It will preserve the battery as long as you want it to, and then when you need those features, you can turn it back off, and then you can use those full watch features for 10% of the battery. Second thing that I want to talk about is Bixby or Google Assistant. Now both of these are there on Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. They come pre-installed. So if you don't use one of these or you don't use both of them, make sure that they are turned off. So for example, if you go in Bixby and go in settings, you will see that there is a voice wake up feature, which means your watch is always listening for you to say hi Bixby for it to turn on, and that means this Bixby feature is using battery in the background. Same goes for Google Assistant. If you don't use Google Assistant, make sure that you don't set it up, because then Google Assistant will also be listening in the background to your voice for it to wake up, and that will also use battery. Next, I want to talk about some of these features in the quick settings panel. So here you can see that your Wi-Fi will be on. So if you use your watch with your phone all the time, you don't need this Wi-Fi on the watch itself, because then it will be using battery in the background. Your watch will be getting all its notifications and all its updates through your phone anyway. You will not be needing this Wi-Fi for 99% of the use of this watch. So make sure that you turn it on only when you really need it. Next, you have location turned on. If you don't really need location, you don't use maps or anything like that, you can turn off location as well. Same goes for NFC. So here NFC is on, but I don't use NFC payments, or NFC has no use for me on this watch, which means I can turn it off and it will conserve me a lot of battery life on this watch. So make sure that you go through this quick settings panel and make sure that all of these settings are on or off according to your preferences. If you don't need them, you can turn them off. Next up, I want to talk about the screen wake up gestures. So there's a feature in the display settings called screen wake up gestures or screen wake up, which allows you to wake up the screen by different features. So there you go. Now we have screen wake up, so you can raise your wrist to wake up the screen, you can touch the screen or touch the display to wake up the screen, and then you can also turn the bezel to wake up the screen. And all of these are turned on this watch right now. Now for example, if you are in a habit of using the bezel as a fidget spinner, like I do it sometimes, perhaps you also do it, and every time you do it the display turns on, that will consume battery. So if you like to just rotate your bezel or play around with your bezel, you can turn off this feature, turn bezel to wake screen. So in that way you can continue to just use your bezel as a fidget spinner and the display won't come on. Same goes for these other features, touch screen to wake and raise wrist to wake. Moving along, let's talk about notifications. So we get a lot of granular control in notifications on this watch, so you can really customize the notifications and the way that you want to get them. So first of all, we have app notifications and you can manage them on the phone. So you have to ensure that only the notifications for the apps that you use the most or you want the notifications on the watch are turned on. Not all the apps notifications are turned on for your watch, because then your watch will be vibrating unnecessarily with all these unnecessary notifications on your watch. So you have to filter the apps that you need the notifications from on your watch. Then another very important thing that you can do here is go in advanced settings and set this feature up, turn on screen. So when you get a notification on the watch, do you want the screen to turn on or not? If you turn this feature on, every time you will get a notification, the watch display will turn on, and that will consume battery. And then finally we have auto turn on watch notifications for new phone apps. Make sure that this feature is turned off, because if you like to install a lot of apps on your phone, all of their notifications will be turned on for the watch as well, which is something that you don't want, because obviously you will not want to receive the notifications from all of these apps on your watch. Maybe some of these apps you want notifications on the watch, but not all of them. So turn this feature off and then manually select the apps that you want the notifications on your watch. Next up, I want to talk about the touch sensitivity feature. So go in settings, go in display, and scroll all the way down and you will find touch sensitivity. So what this will do is that it will increase the sensitivity of the display and you will be able to use the display with gloves. If you don't have anything to do with gloves in your day-to-day life, you can turn this feature off and your display will be using less energy sources and less pressure will be put on the battery life of your watch. There are a lot of Samsung Health features that take a lot of battery running in the background. So make sure that you go through the settings of the Samsung Health app on this watch and filter through them. So go in settings and here you will see that there are a lot of things that your watch can measure for you in the background, which means even if you're not using the watch actively, the watch is working and using battery resources in the background. So for example, if you go in the Samsung Health settings, go in heart rate, and if you don't really need your watch to measure your heart rate continuously, you can set it to every 10 minutes while still, or you can even better set it to manual only. Then if you don't really need heart rate alerts, you can turn them off. Now if you do need these features, by all means have them turned on and use them, because that's why you've bought this watch and that's why all of these features are there. Next we have stress. So your watch can measure your stress continuously in the background using battery resources. If it's not important, just switch to manual only. Then blood oxygen during sleep. Do you really need this feature? If it's important to you, have it turn on. If you don't really care, turn it off. Same goes for snow detection. Same goes for skin temperature during sleep. If you don't care, turn it off. And then auto detect workouts. Again, if fitness is important to you, you can use this feature, but if you are not into fitness, you just want a great watch on your wrist and you don't really care about this feature, turn it off. Same goes for inactive time alerts, because all of these features in the background are using battery resources to give you all of these health metrics, and that puts a lot of pressure on your battery life. Next up is always on display. So Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, like all the previous Galaxy watches, supports always on display, where your watch display stays on all the time. It doesn't turn off, and this feature single-handedly will drain your battery faster than all the other features that I'm talking about. You will end your battery in one day, maybe within a day, if you're using this feature. So just use this feature when you really need it. So for example, if you're going to a party, you want to show off your watch, you want to show off a gorgeous watch face, just turn this feature on at that time. All the other times, have it turn off and conserve battery life on your watch. Moving on Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, you can actually see all the apps running in the background. So go in the app drawer, tap on this icon here, and it shows you all the apps in the background. And if you're not using any of these apps, just close them so they are not using any battery life in the background. Make sure you don't have any apps running in the background if you're not actively using them. It will also save you a bit of battery life. Finally, the last thing that I want to talk about is the watch faces. So Galaxy Watch 6 Classic comes with an AMOLED display, which means if you have darker watch faces, the pixels are turned off, they are not using any battery life. But if you have brighter watch faces with white theme or colorful theme, that means that the display is using a lot of battery, because then the whole display is turned on. So make sure that you are using watch faces that have a lot of black in them or with a darker theme, because that will help you conserve battery on Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. So that's about it from this video, guys. These were the 10 tips and tricks that you can do to improve battery life on your Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. I hope that this video is informative for you and it helps you out, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.